Hello, I've had some challenges making this video. You go on. I'm at a park and see a little girl there playing on a little scooter there, going back and forth. In my apartment, it get too loud because of cars and other tenants being noisy. So I tried to go to a few parks and they got noisy. So I was about ready to call it quits, and then as I was driving home, I found this little park, and it's kind of in an isolated area, kind of quiet, not too many cars. You might have a dog barking, kids playing, and just before you had 3 kids jumping in a dust devil getting excited. So hopefully it will go right, because I filmed it here before and then found out I messed up on the mic and it was silent, so you just heard me moving my lips but nothing coming out. So I'm hoping this will work. And I got notes here, so I might look down at them from time to time. But I want to go in the Bible to Galatians, in this chapter 5. Make sure I don't lose my notes. And it talks about the things of the works of the flesh, and among these are, it talks about hatred and envy, and those things will not inherit the kingdom of God. And it says the fruit of the Spirit are things such as joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. And it ends with, let us not be desirous of vainglory, provoking one another, envying one another. And I want to talk about this concept of, as I left off in hate, and how hate controls. And I'll say hate is the tool of the tyrant. And I want to talk about 3 regimes that in the past century were the evil regimes that we had. You had Mao's China, Stalin's Russia, and Hitler's Germany. And all of them had a foundation of hate and envy. And first we'll talk about Mao's China, and I'll leave a YouTube video in the description box on YouTube, and probably in my comment section on Facebook. And Mao, he came to power as a communist, and he was envy of other countries, and so he tried to make his country on par with them. They didn't have it, and he ended up killing a lot of people because of pure mismanagement. Okay, he wanted to take, in his Great Leap Forward, he took a lot of people out of farming, put them in to make steel, which was poor steel because they didn't know how to do it, and the farms kind of didn't have that expertise, and so they didn't have as much food, and so the famine caused the deaths of close to estimated 40 million plus people. And then he had the Cultural Revolution, where he blamed other people for this. He got children to turn in their parents, and I remember seeing videos of parents with a sign on them, like in shame about just not being a communist, just trying to lead a free life. And so people got envious of them. And Mao really had a bad effect on the Chinese people with this regime that was based in hatred and envy. Stalin, the same thing. I'll leave another description for him. Jordan Peterson talking about what's called the kulaks. And the kulaks were peasant farmers who were very productive, efficient, and prosperous. They understood how to farm. They were the expertise at it. And so when the commissars came to these areas, they would get the farmers or the people who weren't doing well, and they would point out the kulaks, and they would take the kulaks away, because by their ideology, anybody that was doing well was stealing from other people, not because of they had the talent or skill level to be a better farmer. And so after that, there was a famine because you didn't have the expertise in the farms anymore to do well, and so a lot of people there starved. Okay, so hatred and envy caused the deaths of millions of people. And next we have, of course, Hitler's Germany, where it was based off hatred of the Jews and then hatred of the Slavs, and so he killed a lot of people and partially envy of them that they were doing better than most Germans or whatever, and so that regime was based off hate and envy. And each of them used hatred as a tool to control the people. Okay? And so envy is something that we need to disregard or try to fight against. It's kind of hard for me to understand it in ways, because when I first moved out here, one of my classmates, Albert, y'all know who he is, he put on Facebook that he's coming down for some clients in his business, what he was doing, and he says they're going to go to a NASCAR race, and so I messaged him and said, hey, let's get together. And it's okay, sure. And so I met up with him, and he's entertaining his clients, and we're talking, and found out that he makes 10 times as much money as I did. Okay, was I envious of him? No, I was very happy. He's my classmate. And for those of you not from my hometown, you might not understand that relationship amongst our classes. That's kind of like, who we identify with, our class. And he didn't look down at me because I was making less. We were just two guys that knew each other since first grade, been friends since then, grew up together, and we're happy to be in each other's company for that period of time. I mean, he bought me a beer, so it's just, and I helped him. I took some stuff to his sister's house that he's going to throw away. So that friendship that we have is what I would call a non-material blessing that we have, and we need to really keep track of these. I've been overseas, and just to be in a park like this, in a place I've been they don't have something like this where, little kids can play on a playground, or ride not a motor scooter, but a little scooter. They can just go up and down the sidewalk, just have a good time, or, now they probably go jump in a dust devil, you might have those there, but these non-material blessings that we have, we need to take into account, even the minor material ones. I mean, most people have electricity, running hot water, okay? These were luxuries, 3/4 of a century ago. There are people that didn't have these in this country, and there are people over the world that don't have these things. Or you look at the streets, they're clean streets. I've been in other places, the streets aren't that clean, okay? These are things that we need to take count of and be blessed that we have and thankful that we have, instead of worrying about what other people have that we don't. Okay? You're going to have unequalness in incomes, okay? Myself as a substitute teacher, I make less money than a principal. I accept that. I don't have the headaches that the principal has. Okay, that's a trade-off that I accept. I'd rather have the peace and have enough money to meet my needs that I can deal without the headaches. Okay, we look at sports. I guess somebody's lighting firecrackers up. Okay, a star quarterback's going to make more than a punter, or an ace pitcher on a baseball team is going to make more than some guy that comes out every 3 days in the 5th inning. Okay, that's going to be unequal. We just got to accept it. Just be grateful for what we have. Now, it's okay to want more, but let's not sell our soul to get more. That's going to be the problem that we have. Okay? And one of the things else about the tyrants I want you to talk about, all three of them, well, they tried to remove this. They tried to get rid of the Bible. They tried to get rid of the Word. Mao replaced it with his little red book. Okay? He had his little red book that was of his. Stalin got rid of the church. He brought it back for World War II. He brought the Russian Orthodox Church back and then got rid of it again. And Hitler kind of corrupted the Protestant church there. They were kind of useful to him as long as they didn't challenge him. And the reason is, when the Bible speaks against hate, it takes away the tool of the tyrant. Okay, the Bible speaks against envy. It takes away a tool of the tyrant. Okay, it speaks of to love one another. It takes away the tool of the tyrant. So these are things we need to be very leery of, attacks that try to remove this from our lives. People that try to remove this are more than likely, I got somebody being loud, you got a car back there, are trying to use hatred to set us up against each other. Okay? So, and another thing what these three regimes is, they idolize the leader. Mao became this, divine-like figure in his country by the use of the Red Book. Stalin, anybody that came close to him toward the end, he killed all his people that started the Communist Party and the revolution. He got rid of all them, so he had a bunch of younger people, so he was high above everybody else. And Hitler, had his cult of infallibility as well. And this was something that the leaders of these countries, decided to idolize themselves, as a deity-like figure. And you see this in a lot of other countries. I remember when I was in the army, when Saddam first invaded Kuwait, I was in the army at the time, and you saw these pictures of Saddam everywhere. Okay, it's one thing we just don't have in this country. We just don't have the president's picture everywhere. Okay, it's just something that we just don't do. You might have a bumper sticker here or there, and that's about it. But you don't have, the image of the president plastered all over the place. It's just not something we do. We have our flag, which is part of the heritage of the country. So we need to understand that tyrants will use hate and envy as a means of controlling people, because I said in the last video, okay, when you choose love, you control yourself. When you choose to allow hate to overcome you, the hate will control you, and the tyrant knows this, and so the tyrant wants to keep hatred in as much as possible to control the population. So we need to pray and say, let us remove hatred from our lives. Let us remove envy from our lives. Let us be grateful for what we have, okay? And let us not be deceived by those that want us to hate. Things that we need to all take into account. Thank you.